Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of VCTV. I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott, and today we're going to be talking about impact investing and social responsibility, also sustainability. These are three common topics we talk about here on VCTV because they are so important. We've seen a lot of activity along with a lot of capital being put towards these areas over the last 18 months, more than we have over the last decade in a very, very public fashion, which is exciting. And we also had some big news last week as Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr., also launched a new fund, a rolling fund, focused around ESG and impact investing as well, continuing his efforts in the space. But it's exciting because it also continues his character as Iron Man. But nonetheless, if you do look at Robert Downey Jr.'s history around the venture space and the Downey Group or Downey Ventures, they have focused a lot in this area and are continuing to do so and opening it up to more investors of all shapes and sizes as well. So get ready. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But before we do, a big thank you for you to tuning in today. If you're liking what you hear, make sure you click subscribe and check out the archive on LATOKEN.com to hear more from our speakers today and the entire VCTV family. And if you would like to be on a show like today as an investor, please join us as we bring together the best and the brightest to share their thoughts and insights along with on-the-ground perspective of different technologies, industries, and regions around the world. And we'd love to have you, and also entrepreneurs, that goes for you too. We have a virtual stage here at VCTV for you to join to pitch us your company, product, or service, get real-time feedback, and also build relationships with us as investors as well. And we'll show you an example of that here in just a moment as well. And a big thank you to the entire LATOKEN team, along with Maria and Hasmik, that make VCTV possible every single day. Without them, we couldn't all be here together, and we appreciate everything that they do to make this happen. With that, I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. We're going to go ahead and introduce today's guests as investors who've been joining us from around the world before we get into today's topic, and then we've got a special treat for you as well. So with that being said, Catherine, welcome to the show. It's an absolute pleasure. First time having you here on my show at VCTV. A little intro, a little background for everybody.
Of course, sure. My name is Catherine Cartini. My fast friends call me Kate. I am the co-founder and partner at Chloe Capital. We're a movement-driven venture capital firm that invests in women-led technology companies with diverse leadership teams. And in addition to investing with a gender and a diversity lens, we also partner with universities and foundations and corporations to host what we like to call Invest in Women programs. And these programs help catalyze millions in additional fundraising for female founders. In addition to that, I'm the Chief Investment Officer of a national network of angel investors that specifically focus on impact, and that's Social Venture Circle. And I'm a venture partner with Republic. So if anybody is interested in learning more about crowdfunding, it is the new wave, and we encourage you to go to republic.co.
I love it. Welcome, Catherine. This is exciting. I mean, that was a ton of nuggets I did not know about your background, so this is even better. And couldn't agree more on Republic. We actually talked last week about social and social media and broader communities around fundraising. Republic and you have done an amazing job at that, and I completely will second and recommend Republic for those who have not checked it out. Go there, and I'll bring up some questions for Catherine in the episode today around that, and specifically around impact as well. So thank you very much, Catherine. Adrian, welcome back to the show. A little intro, a little background.
Hello, everybody. I'm Adrian Niculescu, an entrepreneur and an investor. I'm involved in a few projects, Cloudcoin Consortium, Cloudcoin being a post-blockchain digital currency, Faster Capital, a Dubai-based accelerator and incubator for startups, and also I'm a mentor in Richard Branson's Virgin Startups program in UK. Happy to be here.
Wonderful. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you, Catherine, as well, again, for joining us today. And last but not least, Nicole, welcome back to the show. It's a pleasure to have you. A little intro and a little background for everybody, please.
Sure. Thank you. It's good to be here today. I am a woman of many hats. I really have been an absolute entrepreneur and investor all at the same time, mixing that with my entire career, always with one foot in impact. And so today's topic is close to my heart. I'm on one hand, I'm a CMO on demand, and I have a firm called Outfront Solutions, and I'm helping a lot of entrepreneurs raise money, gain the visibility and increase their valuation as they need to. And then on the other hand, I have recently raised a fund along with an amazing group of fund managers called How Women Invest. And we are disrupting venture capital in light of really making sure that we're investing. We're a fund raised by predominantly women of color, and we're investing in women of color, but always female-founded companies and female-led companies. So excited to talk about that topic and more.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Nicole. Again, excited to have all three of you, Nicole, Adrian, Catherine. Very excited. We're going to dive into today's topic in just a moment. But as I did mention pre-show, we've got a special guest here today who wants to share his latest company that does fit into the impact and sustainability categories. I'll let him tell a little bit more. But Hasler, welcome to the stage. It's a pleasure to have you back here on VCTV. I'm going to turn it over to you to give us your pitch around the company that you and your team have put together. I'm going to put 5 minutes on the clock. All of us as investors will hear and listen to your pitch, and then we'll give you some feedback and ask some questions afterwards as well. So why don't you go ahead and turn on the presentation that you've got, and we'll go ahead and start the clock.
Many thanks for having me here today and for having time for this presentation. I'm going to talk to you about our startup that's called Agua Segura in Spanish, or Safe Water in English. Our startup is based in Venezuela, and this image may look familiar for all of you. This is the way normal people access to water, just opening up the tap and receiving water. Nevertheless, in our country as well, and in many other countries of Latin America, Africa, and Asia, this is the way how people has access to water. They have to go to rivers, to natural sources, or to commerces to buy water that most of the time is not or does not have the quality it's required for drinking water. So the problem is that more than 700 million people in the world, mostly in developing countries, lacks access to safe water. This makes them vulnerable to life-threatening diseases, knowing that around 10,000 people die every day in the world because of waterborne diseases and illnesses related to sanitation. But also, the water affects the productivity. Over 40 billion productive hours are lost each year to fetch water in sub-Saharan Africa. And this is a reference that could be used in countries such as mine here in Venezuela, in South America. But also, children fail going to school because of going to fetch water. And about 443 million school days are lost each year from water-related illnesses. So we have developed a solution that is safe drinking water from a source less than 0.62 miles away, and at least 20 liters per person per day, which is the standard recommended by the WHO. So our solution is a tailored safe water source for vulnerable communities that attends their requirements, their needs. We also create jobs because this is a water plant that needs to be operated, and these vulnerable people, most of them women, are the ones who are going to operate the plant. And these plants are installed in community centers that are managed by social organizations that also requires a source of income. So this plant not only gives them water, not only create jobs, but also gives social organizations such as schools, public dining rooms, retirement houses to have access to money. So this is the plant I'm talking about. We have already installed 4 of these plants in 4 different cities of our country of Venezuela. And at the end, it is a water purification franchise. We work as a franchise. We focus on vulnerable people. We make this plant self-sustainable, and it's also managed in the cloud. We have all this service that is received by the community. We start with a diagnosis, making in-house service, a health evaluation, and water laboratory analysis to understand what the situation is. Afterwards, we make and we deliver community trainings to make the people aware the risks they are facing and how to prevent the illnesses. Afterwards, we install the plant and start it up. We help them with the management and operation, and at the end, we make an impact assessment to understand better how does the access to safe water has improved the health and the quality of life of these people. These are some pictures of the activity we have performed, the health evaluation, the measurements, the trainings, and the plant itself. So we are a franchise. We start with the plant installation, and we help the community to manage and operate it in the business of selling bottled water or even refilling water bottles in the country. This generates income for the organization, and they pay operation fees to Safe Water in order to keep growing and keep reaching more people. All of the system, the sales, the maintenance, the costs, and the profits generated by each one of these community water plants are sent or are controlled in the cloud through our management system that works 24/7. We have an important social impact. We have also been certified by LATAM, Innovation LATAM, and a Brazilian university called Fundação Dom Cabral. They gave us this seal last year to certify that our startup is generating and measuring appropriately our social impact. We are delivering safe access to drinking water. We are increasing productivity of people. We are improving the health of vulnerable people, and we are helping and promoting prevention and a preservation conscious, which is logically aligned with these SDG, good health and well-being, and clean water and sanitation. The investment per community is $7,600 to install and develop all these 5 activities I told you seconds ago. We have a return on investment over a year of 60%, considering that the plant only sells 40% of installed capacity. It could be even more. And our social return on investment is that for every dollar invested after 3 years, the community receives the equivalent to $14 of social welfare. So the way you can communicate with me, and many thanks again for having me here.
And then I'll ask my question last for you as well. Catherine, let's kick it off with you. Any questions or feedback for Hassler? And again, Hassler, congratulations and thank you for the pitch today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. So first of all, I love to see that you have the sustainability goals from the United Nations right on the pitch deck. I also identified a third in terms of infrastructure, but for everyone out there who missed it, it was clean water and sanitation, good health and well-being, and the third one of which I think you could qualify for is industry, innovation, and infrastructure. So I like to see that you're ensuring not only the availability and the sustainability of water, but also the productivity. What people don't realize in third world countries is that it's really on the woman's shoulder to keep the wheels turning, as is the world. And when their chores are magnified by 50, 60, 70% in time, then it takes away from them being with their family, taking care of their family, etc. So for you to have that other social component in there, I really do appreciate that. Now, the questions that I have was how much does this cost? And I believe you said $7,600 per plant. Is that correct?
Yes, 7,600 per plant and all the diagnosis and impact assessment activities. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then how much is the community getting paid for this? I thought I heard 14, but I need clarification.
Yes, well, the community is able to afterwards sell the water in bottles for the community. Our estimations is that each community can generate up to $1,400 per month of profit without the maintenance and without the costs of operating the plant. From these profits, they pay 30% of operation fee to our franchise, and the other 70% goes to buying food, for example, for children, or making some reparations of the infrastructure, or even buying, for example, a new refrigerator for the food in a public dining room, etc. So it's all invested in the community of vulnerable people.
Yep, you really thought about it. This is plug and play. When you said franchise, I appreciate that you said that, and you're not trying to say we're a tech company or etc. This legit is a franchise. I am curious to know how much the women are actually getting paid to manage these plants, because you're coming in, you're saying, here's the model, here's everything that you need to do, and now you actually have to do the day-to-day. So what does their paycheck look like?
Yes, at this moment we are working in 4 communities. 3 of them are public dining rooms that assists around 100 or 200 children each one. And actually, the social dynamic in these community dining rooms is wonderful. They are women-led. It's a group of mothers who are the ones who fetch the food, who cook the food, and who assist the children, giving them the food. So they are the same people that are not going just to cook now, but to have access to water and also to sell the water bottles. So in the practice, all the people who manage, who operate, and who uses the water plant are, I would say, 90% of them are women, also mothers. That, as you said, as these plants are now installed inside their neighborhood, they don't have to walk or take a car to go elsewhere to find water. They are inside their community, even though
for the sake of time.
in the dining room.
Just for the sake of time, a little constructive criticism. Don't tell me a story. If I ask about a number, try to pinpoint that number for me. I'm really looking for what these women are making in terms of their paycheck, so I can understand the benefit and the value for the end consumer. Okay, just a little constructive criticism there. And then I don't want to hog this conversation, which I am already. I was just curious to know about the cloud management system and how you built that out and what that looks like.
Yeah, it's a management system like you could see in a point of sale, for example. In this system, the people in the community charges how many bottles they have sold, how many wages they have paid, how many water trucks they have paid, and also they charge when did they do the maintenance. Sorry, so we can be aware if the maintenance plans is being applied or no, and take action in case it isn't.
Oh, that's great. All right, so please work with Maria after this and get connected with me after, because I'm sure you've heard of the Blue Haven initiative, very large family office with a special concentration on sub-Saharan Africa, and I think that they would at least love to know to have you on their radar. So I'm happy to see if they would like an introduction to you. As an investor, I'm always a fan of a double opt-in.
It's great. Thank you very much, Catherine. Nicole, any questions or feedback for Hasler as well?
Yeah, Hasler, congratulations for doing this, and thank you so much. I love the country of Venezuela and what you are doing. I can absolutely see the impact that it'll have globally. Do you have women on your management or your executive team as well?
Yes, we are 5 engineers in the board, and 2 of them are women. Yeah.
Fantastic. I just think that that's very important, because as you are getting into community with women, it's oftentimes a different understanding as to what it is to be in community, employ women, just really understanding what the day-to-day life is like for them. So I think that's really great. Is there anything that you're addressing related to wastewater? Because I know that's a huge issue, often causing a lot of the pathogens and whatnot.
Yes, at this moment we are just regarding wastewater. We are just training the people how to better manage wastewater in order to reduce the impact on environment and on themselves. We are always looking how to grow And for example, generation of biogas to boil water is one idea. Another idea is how to help water community systems to be deployed. Yeah.
I might recommend, the Gates Foundation is very much into taking care of wastewater, and so perhaps there is a partnership or something that you could do with them, because I know they're in Venezuela as well, with a number of projects and products, and I think that might be a nice way to close the loop. But congratulations, you did a great job on your presentation. Keep at it, keep falling in love with what you're doing, and thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you, Nicole. Adrian, any question or feedback for Hassler as well?
Hello, Hassler. I liked a lot the social return on investment. I wanted to ask, how did you calculate it? By the way, hustler in English is like hustler, so you are a fighter. If I'm not looking at how your name is spelled, hustler, like hustler. So it's the same thing. Of course, there is also a magazine for men, but let's not discuss about that. How did you calculate this social return on investment?
Yeah, well, thank you. I have never thought about that of my name. Well, the social return on investment, we applied a methodology that was developed in the UK. You can look for it as socialreturnoninvestment.com or something like that in Google, and you will find it. And we consider, for example, not just the generation of income, socialreturnoninvestment.com or something like that in Google, and you will find it. And we consider, for example, not just the generation of income that is used in the community, but also, for example, the savings. How much money does a child, does they have to go to the doctor because of a diarrhea? How much money is saved from that? How much children can be attended with this money? And that is how we can calculate, following this methodology developed in the UK, to estimate this social return on investment.
And right now, it wasn't clear from the pitch. How much are you raising this part?
Yes, at this moment we have 4 plants installed. They were installed last year. We have just begun with commercializing water this year. So in January, as 4 new plants, they produced or generated around $600. We are estimating that as they keep growing and people get to know that now they can buy water in their communities, this amount will increase. We are also making all our estimations that the plants work at 40% of their capacity. If we can reach 50%, 60, 70% of their capacity, the income is going to skyrocket from that.
Awesome.
Okay, my question was, what are you raising? How much are you raising?
Yeah.
It wasn't related to
how much, Hassler, how much are you raising in terms of capital for this round? You just pitched a few investors here and in the entire audience. How much money are you looking to raise for the company?
Yes. Well, we are looking to install this year at least 10 more plants, and all the community approach in 10 more communities, sorry. So it would be about $76,000 this year to address 10 more communities.
So just to summarize, so you need 76,000, or you need 76,000 times 10 for 10 different plants?
No. 76,000. Each community is 7,600.
Got it. Cool. Wonderful. Adrian, you got that?
Perfect. Yes. Awesome. Thank you very much.
Investment? Is this a debt opportunity?
Sorry?
Is this a debt opportunity?
Or equity? Are you raising for debt or equity?
No, this is, I mean, the investment is to be deployed in each community and to generate social impact and also gain the return on investment. If I understood well the question, sorry.
So with that, Hansler, just to clarify, if I give you $10,000,
Yeah.
do I get part of the company, so equity, or is it a $10,000 note, a loan, that you then pay back through the returns of the company, just to boil it down?
Yeah, it's through the returns of the company. We are not at this moment selling stocks or something. Sorry, I didn't understood at the first moment. It's just like you're going to obtain the return of the investment, but not a stock or participation on the company property.
That's great. Your minimum check size that you would accept?
No, any amount is good for us. We are also, last year we received different amounts, even 500, 600, and we are kind of taking it together in order to be able to install one more plant in the future. That any amount is good for us, and we are raising in any different way.
Okay, we'll talk about that offline.
Yeah, and definitely talk to Catherine as well about Republic. Could be a unique option for you guys as well. Shameless plug.
Unfortunately, they don't qualify for Republic. Here's the simple rules on that. Need to be based in the United States and need to be generating a minimum of $150,000 annual recurring revenue. However, again, the Blue Haven initiative, I think, would be perfect.
And let's stay in touch as well, because I have another project, including I can make an introduction to the Gates Foundation for you. So happy to support you that way. So let's stay in touch also.
Thank you. Many thanks.
Hansler, thank you very much. Real quick shout out. Where can everyone find the company in terms of website? What is the website that everyone can go to? And then Nicole, Catherine, Adrian, I'll make sure everyone is connected here afterwards in just a moment. But Hansler, give the audience the website that they can go to check you and the company out a little bit more.
Yes, well, our website is in Spanish. In Spanish, it's másverde-máshumano.org. The translation is greener, more human, which is the foundation in which this startup was born. So www.másverde-máshumano.org.
Wonderful. Hansler, thank you so very much. To the audience, we'll put that into the show notes as well so that everyone can see that. And also, again, I'll make sure everyone gets connected afterwards. So Hansler, again, thank you very much. Audience, make sure you check out Hansler and his company as well. Guys, I want to switch gears now over to today's topic and talk a little bit more about impact and sustainability and what's happening in these industries. Following Hansler's pitch, we can see that a lot has changed in terms of more opportunities and more focus around these. And so, Catherine, I want to come to you first and just get your general overview of what have you seen happen in impact and sustainability overall in the last 18 months? What's starting to get you excited? And also, again, what have you seen currently start to change in the industries?
Oh, sure. So here's what's starting to change in the industry. Things are getting more well-defined. So let's start with some definitions, okay? So you've got impact investing. That's at the top. That's a methodology of investing. And that basically means that investors are out there searching for companies that have already proven to have either an environmental or a social impact, as well as having some positive financial returns. Underneath that, you have all of these subsets, and one of them could be conscious capitalism. Another could be social responsibility investing. That's, I think, what we're here talking about today, SRI. And that just is a filter mechanism. That's investors out there saying, listen, we don't want to invest in certain things like sin industries, and that can include tobacco, or it can include alcohol or pornography or even cannabis. So again, those are things that investors say they AKA loathe. And as soon as they filter through that, then again, they're looking at things from an environmental and a social impact, again, as long as it has return. Remember, investing is not philanthropy. Even though you can do well by doing good, it is not a donation. And then I think the third layer to all of this is something we hear a lot of right now is ESG, environmental, social, and governance. And right now at Social Venture Circle, which again is a national network of impact investors, they really love to align themselves with the United Nations 17 sustainability goals. And you saw today in this pitch, we at least had 2, maybe even 3, when it came to infrastructure, water, and health and well-being. So that made my heart sing, and I will go back to them and see if they're interested in investing in a global company. Right now, they are United States based as well. But you can see there that you're really focusing on environment. Is it good for, is it water? Is it good for fish in water? Is it good for land? Is it good for things of that measure? Social, at Chloe Capital, again, investing with a gender and diversity lens. In governance, how are companies out there making sure that they've got recycling programs, that employees are being treated fairly? When you raise more capital and the employee shares get diluted, are you still saving enough employee shares so when you do eventually have a liquidation or you go public, these first-time employees that gave it their all for you are going to be compensated, things of that nature. I know it can get complicated, but knowing exactly what these definitions are and how your company can filter into them will make a world of difference, because at the end of the day, early stage investing is relationship based, and you can't just sell your company to investors as you would a t-shirt to a consumer, okay? It's not about a mass email. It's not about LinkedIn algorithms and sending something to someone just because they have investor in their profile. You really have to understand what their passions are for investing, and then you put the time and resources into building a relationship with them.
Absolutely. And even more so around these areas. I mean, when it comes to impact and sustainability and just bucking everything that you just said under those 2 umbrellas, absolutely. It's not just a game of numbers. It's not the spray and pray method of just sending a bunch of cold emails. You really have to go after those that are passionate about the area that you're building in. You're absolutely right. And in terms of resources and some of the education that you mentioned, is there any resources or areas that people can go to learn a little bit more about those things?
Yeah, absolutely. I, of course, would say go to Social Venture Circle's website, which is sbcimpact.org. And, one more layer to this, they just partnered with the American Sustainability Business Council. So talk about really going in on environmental, social, and governance, investing, and just impact in general. That would be a really great place to start.
Thank you very much, Catherine. Nicole, I want to switch over to you on the same question. I mean, what have you seen change over the last 18 months and maybe even really the last few weeks as we've spoken recently about what's happening in sustainability? And, checking the watch, we're on February 1st here, just a few days into the new year, and it feels like we've already seen a ton happen. So what have you seen maybe in the beginning of the year really change throughout sustainability and impact investing?
Yeah, thank you, Catherine, for your rundown. That was really great and super helpful. And I was absolutely going to bring up this category of ESG, environmental, social, and governance. And for me, the beginning of this year has felt like a slingshot that I've been affiliated and part of organizations that have been focused on environmental and social issues, governance issues, diversity on boards, all those topics. And with the new administration in place, there are finally going to be more policies that are backing us up in the good work that we're all doing. And so I felt that very strongly when, the day after inauguration was contacted about a number of initiatives. And I'm old enough to have been calling this area only nonprofits and whatnot. Then we got into the topics of impact, and ESG is the term of the day. And I've seen finally a number of the auditing companies in alignment in terms of how they're measuring how companies and people perform in the marketplace when it comes to environmental, social, and governance. And so I'm very encouraged that, you know, you have the Deloittes and the Ernst & Youngs of the world out there measuring in a more consistent fashion. And Davos is coming out with, you know, has come up with a lot of announcements with that alignment so that companies can measure that return. And I think that's been a big issue in the impact investing space is, you know, what are the consistent standards for measuring a company's impact on, you know, the environment, on social development, on governance. And yeah, so it's super exciting. I mean, I love topics like, you know, we, as part of How Women Lead, we got the Women on Boards 2020 initiative passed. Now we're looking at other topics for legislation, but I do think it's really going to be important that we're working hand in hand with government organizations and lobbyists to make sure that we have the legislation to back us up. And of course, my biggest area of interest is in the female founders and female leaders. And that is only 2% of the companies that go out to raise who have female founders and leaders are getting that venture money. And that is just a ridiculously low number. So How Women Invest is really focused on disrupting that. And that's why we're not only training new investors and female investors to get them into the mix to, you know, so that they can take control of their wealth, but we're also actually making investments now and making investments in these categories that are, you know, impacting millions. Future of work, health tech, those types of things. So I'm very encouraged by all that's happening in the market today and with legislation on our side.
Thank you, Nicole. And a real quick follow-up for you. As a CMO on demand, you talked about measuring, you know, how companies, that framework of how companies are measuring the return, but also from a marketing perspective, I mean, how are companies or how should companies be thinking about if they're building in the impact or sustainability, really putting themselves out there in the world and making sure it's an alignment with what they're actually doing and not maybe just leaning so hard into the ESG side, to be very blunt about it as well, since you do a lot of this.
Yeah, thank you, Kyle. I raise money and I help companies define their brand. And as you said, it is all about that internal and external alignment. And so, you know, you have like with Hassel, he is walking the walk. He has a diverse board. He is bringing his solution out into a marketplace that, you know, is female, you know, women are running, you know, this business, and they're the community keepers. And so it is super important from a messaging perspective to be values aligned and make sure that you're actually taking the actions that you're communicating in the marketplace, because the market will get behind it. People can find out what is truly occurring within a company quite easily. And so it's more critical than ever to, you know, have an authentic story that is, you know, communicated well in a succinct way, and that is aligned with, you know, standards. And, you know, the UN has those guidelines. Guidelines are easy to find, and these organizations really want to support entrepreneurs. And so it's, you know, a matter of it's the storytelling, being values aligned with what's happening internally and externally. And it's also a lot of times not just doing it yourself. It's aligning with other partners, other entities that are in the marketplace that can help you.
Great point. Thank you very much, Nicole. Adrian, I want to come to you next. Similar question. What have you seen change? But also you work closely with Richard Branson and some of his programs, which he has a number of initiatives in these spaces that we've been talking about respectfully. What have you seen change? But also what are you helping with on the Branson side that may be impactful?
I would like to start with something I'm very passionate about it, and how this came to life. It's about how we can become the best versions of ourselves. And as a Romanian, I come from a country and from a nation which has a mindset of a conquered nation. We were conquered over history by many other nations, and this grew a certain type of victim mindset, which you can see in every Romanian somehow. And because I wanted to get rid of that, it was a journey where I've learned a lot of things. And when I began as an entrepreneur, which was many years ago, I struggled for years because it wasn't mentoring available right then. So I did everything by myself. So I struggled like crazy. And after that, in Romania, I started. It's something I'm calling it the virtual association of Romanian entrepreneurs. It has a website, entrepreneursinromania.org, and it's a community for Romanian entrepreneurs in Romania and everywhere who actually want to become the best versions of themselves as people, as professionals, as entrepreneurs. And we've prepared some tools for them, trainings and everything. With my activity for Richard Branson's project in UK for Virgin Startups, I worked with very young startup founders, and sometimes we need to work more on the mindset side, on the discipline, on the things which are not related to business. And sometimes it's like I'm speaking with a brother or a sister, so I have to do this type of activity. And I believe that in our work, and this is the main reason why I became an entrepreneur and I've internalized those struggles, is that through our work we can really make an impact and change the world, or at least some part of the world. What I saw changing is that people seem to start care more about others, and they seem to start caring more about, okay, I'm doing money like this, but what kind of impact I'm also which is my footprint on earth, or if I'm doing things the right way, because you can make a lot of money by hacking websites, by selling drugs, if it's all about money. But it's very important how you are doing this, because by following a certain route, you will arrive at a certain destination. Usually, if you do the things I just mentioned, the destination has some bars or is a graveyard or something like that. Rarely it's something apart that. And I see, and this is something which I didn't observe a lot before this pandemic period, when people came to the roots and to the basic needs, and when the reptilian brain actually gave us some survival instincts at the surface. So I see a huge care about, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but how I'm impacting the earth, how I'm impacting the society. This is something I didn't quite see it before, or maybe it was there, but I didn't observe it. And it's actually a very good thing. People are thinking more about that.
It's a good point, and actually brings me to my next question for Catherine and around the crowd. So you work very closely with Republic, but also have an angel group as well. And curious as to where crowdfunding and crowd investing comes to play around impact and sustainability. And again, just a big umbrellas here. So feel free to go deeper into specific topics. But yeah, would love to hear where the crowd plays a role.
Oh boy, I have a lot of opinions on this, right? I am a fund manager and owner of a venture capital firm. Yes, I'm running the investment portion of a national angel network, but then also these millennials are coming up with Republic and this crowdfunding opportunity, which is really gaining speed. So here's a bit of truth slaying. I do believe that traditional angel funds that we used to see in our local communities are a thing of the past. It is very difficult for them to raise additional capital to continue their funds moving forward and attract younger generations into those funds who specifically only want to invest with a geographic lens. So instead, what you're seeing are the formation of these crowdfunding platforms, which Republic is just one of them, but exceptional. And this allows everyone, regardless of being in the 1%, an opportunity to support innovation with small bets. And we had a partner call just the other day, and they said, do you think Republic will generate wealth? And I said, sure, any investing is going to generate wealth if you put enough in and you pick smart winners, okay? And you are patient and ride that journey. But really what I see Republic doing on the early onsets is providing a community, education, and experience for people who are interested in learning about investing to, again, find the winners and find their interests and learn from other people while placing small bets to de-risk the opportunity. So that was a long-winded answer, but I think that crowdfunding is certainly here to stay. And with the new SEC regulations, you also saw that the limit has now been increased from 1 million being able to raise on these platforms up to 5 million. And when you think about crowdfunding, some traditional investors are like, don't do it because you don't want all those investors on your cap table. Well, that's not what this is. It's a crowd safe, similar to a special purpose vehicle. So all the people contributing their finances are just in one note. And that's what goes on the cap table. And then another traditional angel investor said, no, don't do it because I just got into a battle and we needed to sell and this and that. And I needed to go back and get approval from all of these different people. Well, guess what? On Republic, the investors actually don't have those information rights. So no, you wouldn't have to go back to 1,000 different investors and gain a vote on how you want to manage your company.
It's a great point, and thank you for the additional education on that as well. To Catherine's point, I mean, education plays such a big role in this, and it's going to be very exciting to see how all of this continues to play out over the next few years. But I will also echo Catherine's point that the crowd is here to stay. We've seen it with previous crowdfunding efforts through things like Kickstarter and Indiegogo and others of crowdfunding, different products that now leading into now companies, and we'll see it even bigger into greater initiatives as well. So thank you very much, Catherine, for that. And since we are coming up to the top of the hour, I want to make sure everyone gets in their closing thoughts and also where they can be found online, and maybe throw out their one big prediction for the year of what you're going to see happen here in 2021 around the investing landscape. So Adrian, back to you. Closing thoughts, your big 2021 prediction for investing, and then where can everyone find you online?
My closing thought regarding 2021 impact investing will be, I will be more careful, and this is not my voice, so this is the thought. I will be more careful in how my investment will impact the society, the world, the environment, and will not be just for the money. I can be found on LinkedIn. Of course, I have many other social media accounts, but on LinkedIn is my main communication hub. Thank you very much for having me here. I always respond to messages, so happy to help in any way I can. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Adrian, as well, and great words to end on. And Nicole, coming back to you, same question. Closing thoughts, big prediction for 2021, and then where can everyone find you along with your fund online if they're looking to talk and raise some capital?
Yeah, my closing thoughts and my prediction are one and the same, and that is that it's all about community. It's about raising money in community. It's about marketing to community. And because we have lost our faith in a lot of the larger organizations and institutions, and therefore turning to community is really an important way to go. And, we structured how women invest in a very specific way to bring in the community of female investors, or those investors, male or female, who really want to, put their dollars where their impact is in supporting these female founders and female-led businesses. And then you have the company, which, when female led, is so often rooted in community. It's often a natural, I'm not saying every company, but it's a natural that female led companies are thinking about the communities they impact. And so you'll hear us make announcements probably next week, I hope, about our investments, and they are from community into community, really helping to drive these entrepreneurs forward. So to find me, as you mentioned, I am a CMO on demand, and my company is Outfront Solutions, or I am a fund advisor, an LP investor, and involved in a couple of different funds. And so it's best to find me on LinkedIn as Nicole DeMeo.
Wonderful. Thank you, Nicole. Can't wait to hear the announcements of the companies as well. You've been talking to us about some of these investments for a number of months here on VCTV. I'm all excited. This is going to be very exciting. We'll have you back here to talk more about them as well. And last but not least, Catherine, closing thoughts, prediction for the year, and then where everyone can find Chloe Capital, the social venture circles, and Republic. I wanted to make sure I got all three in there. So there you go.
Sure, absolutely. So here are my predictions. Traditional angel funds are a thing of the past. Angel investors who don't want to join micro VC or VC funds are just going to start joining networks like social venture circles, so they can have their autonomy, invest in, pick and choose what they want to invest in. But you're going to see these angel networks certainly have a very strict investment thesis and impact thesis like Social Venture Circle does. So if you're looking for that, the website again is svcimpact.org. At Chloe Capital, another trend you're going to see is a shift of institutional capital going into very large venture capital firms. What I do think is that the micro VC firms like Chloe Capital, with again very specific investment theses, are going to start rising above. It is always a numbers game, and you can see just by looking at women in VC directory that when we started just a few years ago, there was something like 50 of us, and now it's really climbing to almost 100. We are not competitors with each other, because here's the trend when it comes to women investing in women. We raise a little bit smaller amounts, so we love to tap our friends on the shoulder, share due diligence, collaborate with each other, and fill out rounds that way. And that's where I see a trend in collaboration and community, to Nicole's point. I do not believe that, again, institutions are going to be pumping large sums of money into venture capital firms anymore. What I do feel is that they're going to start creating their own funds, particularly for colleges and universities. As you see venture capital and entrepreneurship become more majors and minors, you're going to see funds, and you're going to see students starting to manage those funds. At the University of Rochester, they have the Simon Innovation Fund, or Simon Venture Fund. So there's one just popping up right there, and I can name 100 more. So, again, I feel that it's going to be micro communities, micro VCs, and then institutions are going to create their own funds. And then the fourth prediction of what we talked about is crowdfunding for people who are not ready to be LPs on a cap table yet, but they can put in a little money and they want to start exploring something non-traditional than the stock market. Then they're going to turn to crowdfunding to start receiving education. So at Chloe Capital, we're on standby waiting to get your applications. It's chloecapital.com. Right now, we are searching for 3 very specific industries: post-secondary education, we are searching for workforce development, and we're searching for climate change, okay? Why do we do this? Because we always have partners and we always invest alongside our Invest in Women programs. So that's why we have very specific thesis of who we recruit for and deploy capital to. And then at Republic, it's republic.co. And as I mentioned, for that, you should be based in the United States and you should have an annual reoccurring revenue of at least $150,000 to qualify. You can raise up to $5 million. And I'm seeing companies do it every single day.
Absolutely. And thank you very much, Catherine, Nicole, Adrian. Really appreciate all of the thoughts and insights. I'm all excited. There are a ton of people I would love to make sure you 2 or 3 all get connected to. All of your initiatives are great as well. And to you, our audience, thank you so much for tuning in. Also, as you heard today, there are more opportunities than ever and outstanding investors than there ever have been if you are building something. You've heard it here, some great investors and what they're investing in. Make sure you reach out to connect with them and add context when you do, if it is a fit, and or if you would like to learn more as well. A number of resources have been put out here. We'll do our best to throw them in the show notes for you as well. But if you like what you heard, click subscribe, share, check out the archive on LATOKEN.com. And again, do make sure to reach out to each and every one of the investors that spoke today, along with Hasler and his company, as he pitched in the beginning of the show earlier today. So again, thank you, Hasler, for that. Make sure to check out his company. If you'd like to be on a show like today as an investor or as an entrepreneur, do reach out to the team and or myself, and we'll find that right spot for you. And speaking of the team, a big thank you to the LATOKEN team and to Maria and to Hasmik for making VCTV possible every single day. Without them, we could not make this show happen, and greatly appreciative of all that they do. With that, I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. You can find me everywhere online, along with all of our investors, at Kyle Ellicott, and on all social media platforms as well. Again, do reach out, make sure to add context so we know how to best continue the conversation. And we'll be continuing the conversation today in just a little bit after a short break here on VCTV, talking about early stage investing and the opportunities that lie and where things are and how the landscape has changed. And with that, we'll be back here in a little bit. Thank you, everybody. Bye.